Hi, this is Libby Clark. I'm editorial director at the News Stack, and we're live from KubeCon CloudNativeCon in Seattle. And we're here to talk about mentorship and growing contributions to Kubernetes. So I want to ask well, first I want to welcome you all to the News Stack live stream.
Thank you.
Hi. And if you could just go down the line and introduce yourselves and maybe talk just for a minute about how you're involved in the mentorship program. Paris, do you want to start?
Sure. I'm Paris Pittman. I work at Google Cloud. I am a co-chair and sub-project owner in our special interest group called Contributor Experience. That's literally what it is, the experience of our contributors, upstream contributors. And one of the sub-projects that I do own is mentoring. We have several different programs that I'm sure we'll get into in a second. Live in Oakland, like long walks on a beach, and now it's Tim.
I'm Tim Pepper. I'm an engineer with VMware's Open Source Technology Center. I've been involved also in the Contributor Experience Special Interest Group, and some things like yesterday we were running a new contributor workshop, doing contributions in that area, anything I can to help make it easier for new folks coming on board. And then also I'm one of the chairs of the SIG release, and within that we have a release team, and we really actively work to have leads who have defined shadows who are learning their roles, and we try to really practice the cycle of mentorship.
Hi, I'm Nikita Raghunath, and I'm from India. And almost like 2 years ago, I did not even know what Kubernetes was. And I started out in Kubernetes as a Google Summer of Code intern like last year. And since then, I've just been trying to contribute to as many SIGs as possible. And I also help run the Google Summer of Code and Outreachy internship programs now.
Right. So what are the mentorship programs available? I mean, how, if you're interested in being a mentor or becoming entering the program, what do you need to know?
We have several. It's, I think, over 7 at this point, specific programs that tailor to different personas of contributors. I think we look at personas usually from a end user operator perspective, but we actually have personas in contributing as well, whether it's the new contributor, the casual contributor, the code reviewer, the doc contributor. All of those people need mentorship in different areas. So these programs really answer a lot of those concerns. So the things that we have right now that are already built is Nikita mentioned Google Summer of Code, Outreachy, something called Meet Our Contributors, which I can explain in a second, and then we have the KubeCon Speed Mentoring, which I'm sure we'll also hit on, the new contributor workshop that Tim hit on, and some things that are in flight. And the things that are in flight are very new concepts to open source, but we think that they are valid, and one of them is called the one-on-one hour, where you get matched. It's sort of very traditional one-on-one matching, except for it has an end goal, and you only get one time for 1 hour. And then there's group mentoring, which introduces peer mentoring concepts in like a class. I say that very lightly, class type deal, where 10 people get into this class. They have 3 mentors that are splitting their time amongst all of them, and at the end of the 3-month period they can graduate into some level of an owner's file. So that's helping a lot of our current contributors out go into the ladder. Sorry, that was so long-winded. It's just there's just so many at this point that
there's so many.
Yeah, so many.
That's the formal ones.
Yeah, that's and then the release team, and then
as a group in Contributor Experience yesterday, we got an email from one of the special interest groups saying, hey, could you all come and do an audit of what we're doing? Are we inviting enough and easy enough for newcomers to begin contributing? So we're trying to build that level of groundswell where the project as a whole understands the need to grow and bring more people in.
Yeah, I think each special interest group too may have something that they do too. Like I know Cluster Lifecycle has something very similar to this group mentoring concept, where they come up with goals and tell them to work towards this membership ladder and things like that. But the membership ladder really helps us with mentoring because it does give people goals and gives them that path. It's sort of like a job description, if you will, on how to be a reviewer, how to be an approver, how to be a sub-project owner. center. It's a lot.
Sounds like it, yeah. So there was one on site for the workshop. Has that already taken place?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
So we've been trying, I think this is a normal thing at KubeCon now going forward. We did the first one at KubeCon in Copenhagen, KubeCon Europe in the spring. We did one a month ago in KubeCon China, and we did one yesterday here for KubeCon North America. And the participation has grown. We've been working on refining it. It's a work in progress, figuring out how to orient people to all of Kubernetes in a couple hours. So we're
Hundreds.
Yeah, okay. So Nikita, you came up through one of these programs.
Yep. Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about the benefits of that to the people who are, trying to learn Kubernetes?
Yeah, sure. So like I did not know anything about Kubernetes when I applied for Google Summer of Code.
Did you learn it in an hour?
Yeah, I wish.
I didn't have the mic up to laugh.
But yeah, so my mentor really helped me understand various parts of the code base and how to get involved with it and how to even get involved with other SIGs, which is super important, I think. And I've seen that like lots of other people have reached out to me about it. They see like, hey, a person who did not know about Kubernetes, who's just a student, can contribute, then I can contribute as well. So lots of people reached out to me, and then we also had one more Google Summer of Code intern this year, and he was an awesome student, and he has even been contributing now, and he's even a reviewer and an approver right now, so that's super cool.
You gave a lightning talk yesterday, right?
Yes, he did a really awesome lightning talk.
So then what's the benefit on the project side? Like we were talking, actually, Tim and I were talking a little bit before this about the release team and some of the stresses that happen when you're on the release team, and
burnout is real.
Burnout happening. So how does bringing in new people help with that? Doesn't just increase the chaos?
Temporarily.
I think some people view it that way. I think some people, their initial thought is, I'm too busy, I don't have time. Or also, even on the mentor side, you have these skilled engineers who have imposter syndrome, or like, oh, I don't know enough to mentor. So you have some hurdles there, convincing people that, well, if you slow down and peel off some time, there's people here just waiting to get involved, and you invest little bits of targeted time to help them up a little bit and sponsor them and be allies for them, and next thing you know, they're one of the top contributors in the project. So if we have, what do we have, 50, 70 SIG leads?
Oh, it's 78.
Some
78?
big number.
Wow. Yep.
If each of them once or twice a year could bring up somebody else, that's hundreds of new people, and it increases the velocity of the project. It spreads the workload out. It makes all of our lives easier. We get better outcomes technically as well. So it's so important to do.
Yeah, like I just wanted to add on that. So I met one of the SIG leads yesterday, and he was so happy that all the interns were contributing so much that he did not have to spend time on reviewing lots of PRs, because the interns were also reviewing the PRs, which is super great.
So what, from a mentorship point of view, what kind of time commitment is involved, and how do you go about carving out some time, and would you expect for that to maybe eventually pay dividends for you?
Yeah, I think that for me, when I'm building a lot of these programs, I think time was the first thing that I was taking into consideration, because like Tim mentioned, it's always the I don't have time or I don't know enough. We just recently did a contributor experience survey. 160 people weighed in, and that was the main takeaway. And that validates the need for programs where folks have clear goals, clear time commitments and not necessarily ambiguity or like the myth of needing 40 hours a week or something like that. Meet Our Contributors is a once a month web series on YouTube where 6 upstream contributors get on the line with me and we heckle about upstream contributing. Not only heckle, but we answer questions from either new, aspiring, or even current. Like I've had approvers and maintainers DM me, direct message me on Slack, or in our Slack channel called Meet Our Contributors, ask questions that you would normally ask a mentor. So for instance, like the next time somebody says, I need a mentor, say, what questions would you be looking to ask this mentor? And then usually like you kind of start peeling off the layers, and then those questions can be addressed, and then they could also help hundreds of other people. So this to me is sort of mentorship at scale in a sort of modern way. And we've had hundreds of people based off of our YouTube stats look at this. We've run the course. We started in January. It's been 12 months now of it, and it's awesome. And we've even had code-based tours of Kubernetes, which is just pretty much the core repository, which a lot of folks request as code-based tours. It's been a very interesting ride, a very interesting DIY ride.
Mm-hmm. So what is the contributor experience right now in Kubernetes? What do you feel like that is, and what would you like it to be, or what does the feedback from that contributor survey indicate needs to
we need to
happen?
communicate more. That's the feedback from the survey, was that we need to communicate more. And I think the contributor experience can be summed up with automation. Automate as much as possible, document everything else, and making sure that people are having at least a smooth ride to their first PR. That's kind of like the contributor experience that I imagine. I mean, and this is like obviously not including mentoring or anything like that, but just thinking about the actual experience that it's going to take for somebody to submit their first PR, whether it's docs code or what have you. What about you?
Subjectively, we want people to like have a good time at this and find it inviting and welcoming. So like Paris gave a lightning talk yesterday about our emoji use, and we in SIG release we're one of the top users of emojis, and this is sort of like a semi-joke bit of pride for us, because like it's hardcore engineering in the release process that's happening, and we're very much focused on risk mitigation and the problem of the day, but we try to have fun and we try to show that we're human and approachable for new people, and people respond well to that. So I think the experience is good. It's a huge, complicated project, but people see the effort and that human effort and find it approachable and are engaging in huge numbers.
What's your favorite emoji? What is the emoji of your
Tim, I want to know. What is your favorite emoji?
I feel like I need to say the Paris Eiffel Tower emoji. There's a number of people in the community who have a dedicated emoji, actually, even now. So Paris, there's one.
Yours, CNCF will handle this. That's : CNCF will handle this : and you'll get Eeyore's awesome face.
I think the party parrot or the Ship It Kate's parrot, some of those, the smiley with the heart eyes and the Kubernetes logo.
I'd love to do a new stack interview on emojis.
Yeah.
Can we set that up?
I know we're partial to the burrito. It's something I stole from the Kubernetes Slack channel. So I have to say. And
you know what? I'm trying to think. There is a SIG that the burrito actually came up in my frequency charts. I can't remember which one it was.
Could be a SIG release.
I don't remember. Oh, darn. Yeah, no, but the burrito definitely came up in the frequency. That was in there. There was some other funny ones like Kate's heart eyes, where someone we have 347 custom emojis in Slack, and someone customized the Kubernetes logo into the heart eyes smiley face, and that is awesome.
It points to a unique culture, right? I
Yes.
think,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
For sure.
So, and that's not something, I mean, you kind of have to learn it as being part of it, right? You can't just there's no emoji guide.
Maybe there should be.
Yeah, we should make one.
I know.
Thanks for the idea.
I know.
Open an issue for
I
that.
know.
Yeah, right.
PR's accepted.
You hit on a point that I try to bring up with people is that this stuff, it's an active choice. We don't have to do this.
Yeah.
I came from a background where there was no emojis, but it actually is important to have a human aspect. It's easy to say it's just technical, it's engineering, but humans are part of this process. And we have to enjoy it to some extent, or we're not going to do it. And this is part of how we do that. We stay grounded. We're humans. We relate to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was curious, so with Nikita, how you came up through, the Google Summer of Code program. You're one of the top contributors now to Kubernetes. How do you make that leap? How do you make the transition? Can you tell us just a little bit about your journey? And I'd love to hear from the two of you as well, and how you've developed.
Sure. So when I started out with writing a simple test or unit test for a code, which was a relatively easier change. I did that. Then I thought hey, I probably should write maybe fix a small bug. And then I asked my mentor about it, and then he pointed me out to a small bug that I could fix. And he gave me tips about where I could, what links I could read to understand more about it. That led me to fixing that bug. The next thing I knew, I was fixing more bugs. And then as part of the internship program, I had to write a couple of features, which involved lots of writing design documents and everything. So I got a lot of help with my mentors, obviously. But then that also involves talking to a lot of SIG members and communicating with them and discussing with them. So I think it was a nice experience that way, because it made me feel more involved in the SIG and in the community. Which was really great. So I started writing features, and after that I thought, hey, I think I should review PRs, and then I started reviewing small typo changes. Maybe I started out with that, and then maybe 1 or 2 liners, and then gradually started reviewing bigger PRs. And I was super happy the first time I wrote an LGTM. So I still remember that day. And then I think it just grew from there, and then I started working on some sub projects and started owning them, so on. It was pretty organic, I think. Yeah.
I filed papers for my internship 15 years ago, so I think that sounds pretty wild. I'm just kind of blown. You're amazing, so you should know that.
And so is that the common pathway? Is that how you kind of would recommend people who want to get involved to get started?
I think that would be awesome if it were more common.
Yeah.
It's true.
I don't think it is as common. Just like in business, it's you need a good manager, and in this case with GSOC, you do need a good mentor. And I think in Nikita's case, and in many other cases that we've also had in the prod, many others, we have good mentors. So shouts to all the mentors that you've had as well.
Definitely, yeah.
And so, Tim, what would if you were going to give some advice from starting from the beginning, how would you tell someone to get involved with the project?
I think one of the first things is to take that initial step. And we all have imposter syndrome. I really believe that. I've been doing this for 20 years in open source engineering, and I'm still intimidated. I was intimidated when I first got involved in Kubernetes. I remember a year and a half ago, something came up on Slack, and I mentioned something. I kind of step out slightly and mention something to Paris, and she's like, "Hey, can we have a call?" And I'm intimidated. Wow, this this Kubernetes person wants to talk to me. And we have just a totally
Now he's like, wow, she
amiable
wears glitter
chat,
hoodies.
and we agreed on some things that we maybe could work together on, I think, and we have, and it just all of a sudden it's just like you have these breakthroughs if you take that first step, and it's hard or intimidating, and there have been 100 different things like that have happened, but I think trust in the process of open source in the community and put yourself out there a little bit, and I think you'll have positive interactions, especially in this community.
I'm going to plug something again that Tim already said, which was the new contributor playground. Well, that's the repo that we set up for the new contributor workshop. But I think the new contributor workshop is a unique advantage that that newer folks have, because it's a one-day event. You get this burst of knowledge. You get a TA, like a teacher's assistant, who is helping you. In this case, an upstream assistant, if you will. And you don't get that opportunity. At other points, you're going to see docs and videos and Slack. This is you're actually getting face-to-face help, and you're getting that hands-on support, and it's just a unique experience. And the best part about this too, I think, is that it also increases diversity, because we have put it on the front of KubeCon CloudNativeCon. A lot of the Diversity Scholarship winners have taken advantage of this. I should have put a question on the survey. I did not, but we can survey the 100 that we had yesterday to see if they were Diversity Scholarship winners. But I have a feeling that it was probably a good, at least a 10, 20, 30% number. I remember, from emails and things like that. But that's super critical for us as well. And in these mentoring programs, we have definitely built in does this help us with diversity? And seriously consider those things. So I think the new contributor workshop is definitely that unique experience that people should jump on if they can jump on it. And we intend to run new contributor workshops at every KubeCon CloudNativeCon from here on out. And I think for folks out there who cannot afford KubeCon CloudNativeCon, they have diversity scholarships, and that's per event. It's not on the CNCF website. So if folks out there are listening and want to take advantage of this awesome opportunity, they will also pay your travel rate, and to look at the next event, which is in Barcelona. So the 2019 event page, that is up, and it's under, I think, attendees, and then I think the diversity scholarship, right? Yes.
Attend,
oh, cool. It's
diversity and inclusion.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's an excellent place to end. Go get your scholarship.
Yes.
Go apply for your scholarship.
Yes.
Go try out the mentorship program. Yeah, become a contributor. That's right.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have you all.
Thank you. All right.